Hi there, welcome to today's video of Every Mark Matters with Miss McDonald's. Today what we're going to have a look at is we are going to have a look at Edexcel History Paper 2 American West, and we are going to explain one consequence of Red Cloud's War between 1866 to 1868, and that's a 4-mark question. This is an absolute dream of a question because I think the topic's really easy to do, but also the question's really easy to do as well. So let's just begin by breaking up the components for this question and just work out what precisely does Edexcel want us to do for this type of question. So first and foremost, we'll have a look at the command phrase. So the command phrase is explain one consequence. In essence, what that means is you need to say, how did X lead to Y? And what I mean by X is that's the event. And what I mean by Y is that's the consequence. Okay? Right. Let's think about then is what relevant knowledge do we need to focus on? So let's have a look at the focus of the question. Alright? And that's Red Cloud's War. Okay? Right, so our focus of the question is Red Cloud's War. Do you want to press pause and think about what do you remember about Red Cloud's War? If you need to double check a revision guide, double check some notes, have a look at an online resource, please take the time to do so. Press pause and I'll see you shortly. Bye-bye. Okay, welcome back. Right, so first and foremost, I think it's really important to highlight that this was a victory for Red Clouds. Alright, remember this is the one where it had the infamous Fetterman's Trap. Where Captain Fetterman and 80 of his men were butchered by the Sioux. And the USA after this decided to go for a more peaceful approach. Or peaceful relations. It led to the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty, and this created the Great Sioux Reservation. A reservation. Okay? However, what this did is, and this is I think where our consequence comes in, alright, is that is land explicitly for the Sioux. Alright? However, in the 1870s, I think it's 1874 to be precise, gold is discovered. So what do we expect is going to happen? Oh, well, loads. That's going to lead to increased settlement. And where is it going to lead to increased settlement? On the Great Sioux Reservation. Alright? And the Great Sioux Reservation has the sacred Black Hills. This, supposedly, is where we expect, or where the Indians believe Wakantanka are the great spirits to live. Alright? And remember, the Indians really value and respect land and nature. Okay? So they're going to be really upset by gold miners coming in and digging up the land. Alright? So in my view, this all leads to conflict. And we have a major conflict that takes place in the battle in the 1870s, which of course is the Battle of Little Bighorn. So my question really is, does the peaceful relations work? I am not so sure. Okay? Right, let's have a look at the second order concept for this question. Right, so our second order concepts, again, these are terms created by the exam boards, and this is what's called disciplinary history, And this is the aim here is how do we present our knowledge? So rather than just bullet pointing a random sets of facts, it's how do we present our knowledge and organize it in a way, all right? In this instance, it is consequence, all right? And with this topic of American West, there are 5 key consequences. So we have got conflict, cattle industry, crime, increased settlement, and indigenous people's way of life. So you need to think here, so which of these consequences are relevant to this question? Okay, so let's just start at the top and maybe tick them off. So maybe why don't you, rather than writing them all out unless you want to, consider which of these is the most relevant. And I'll leave you to work it out. So is it conflict? Yeah, I would say so. Is it cattle industry? No. Is it crime? No. Is it increased settlement? I think you'd struggle to get 4 marks out of it, but it kind of is a little bit relevant. Is it increased settlement? Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I'm going to overrule myself. I am not going to accept increased settlement. I think as an examiner, I think I would not mark that. All right. So, but you've got 2 consequences to choose from there, or I've got 2 consequences to choose from. Now, just a reminder, this is a 4-mark question. So what that means is that this is a 5-minute question, and you're only going to write down 1 paragraph. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at the mark scheme. So what does the mark scheme want from us? So for this question, it's a bit more like a tick box. So let me talk you through that. All right. So first and foremost, to get 1 mark, is you've got to state or match the correct consequence. For your second mark, what you've got to do is you've got to have 2 precise facts, that support your statement. You've got to say why. You've got to say how. I've done that in the wrong order, but it's not the end of the world. Okay? And nice and simple, within your 1 paragraph, you have to do all of these things. State and match the consequence. State 2 precise facts. Say how, say why. And what I would do is I would personally, as soon as you've stated and matched the correct consequence, say why it works, then bring in your 2 precise facts. Okay? And then go on to say how. Alright? Okay. It's a dream question. Explain 1 consequence. It's a lovely question to do. The topic's relatively easy. A little bit prickly with some of the facts here, but it's a really easy question to do. Set yourself 5 minutes. Take the time to have a go at explaining 1 consequence of Red Cloud's War between 1866 to 1868. Press pause. I'll see you in 5. Bye-bye. Hello, welcome back. Right, so hopefully there you've spent 5 minutes explaining 1 consequence of Red Cloud's War. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read out my answer, and I'm going to refer back to this success criteria that we just made 5 or 6 minutes ago. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, as I go through it, I'm just going to put a 1 in a green circle. Let's have a look. Right, 1 consequence of Red Cloud's War was the increased conflict between the USA and indigenous peoples of the plains. Perfect. There's my first mark. This is because Red Cloud's War created the Great Sioux Reservation as a result of the Second Fort Laramie Treaty, which was later broken by the USA when gold was discovered in the reservation. There's my second mark. So I've stated the consequence, the right one, and I've said why. For example, Red Cloud's success meant that he could determine what he could ask for when For example, Red Cloud's success meant that he could determine and ask for what he wanted, which led to the creation of the Great Sioux Reservation, which included the Sacred Black Hills. I also know that the USA wanted to buy the land earned from Red Cloud's War as gold had been discovered, which led to increased migration. There's my third mark. So I've got 2 facts, not necessarily precise. There's a bit of preciseness here as well. A bit of preciseness here and here and here. So remember, a precise fact doesn't always have to be dates, years, and stuff like that. You can just put like knowledge that you've got and it will work out to be a precise fact. This led to conflicts as Red Cloud's War and the Second Fort Laramie Treaty contributed to the cause of the Battle of Little Bighorn, which ultimately led to the end of the nomadic lifestyle. And there's my 4th mark. Really, really, really easy question. 1 mark for stating and matching the correct consequence. 2nd mark for saying why. A 3rd mark for backing up with 2 precise facts. A 4th mark with my explanation of how the events led to that consequence. 4 out of 4. Take the time now to self-assess your own. I look forward to seeing it. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.